Okay, I think that we can begin. I would like to welcome you to today's webinar for civil engineers, which we will talk about enhanced labeling in CGS LABS Civil Solutions. And today we will host you together with my colleague Klemen Ozimek. Let me just share some information with you regarding the webinar. So this webinar is being recorded as we usually do, and we will share the recording with you after the webinar, so you can watch it later on again if you missed something. And we also kindly invite you to ask questions if you have any during the webinar. You just post them into the special section that you will find in the webinar dashboard. And we will answer those questions after the webinar. We'll send them by email so that we don't interrupt the flow of the webinar. Together with us are mostly our users of CGS Labs software, because it's the topic is targeted to existing users. So I will be really short in presenting our company. You know that we've been active since 1990s, and we're developing special solutions for civil engineering design, and we have offices in Slovenia, Germany, Serbia, and Czech Republic, but we also have a quite wide network of partners that you can turn to if you need any help with using our software solutions. In later years, we are very active on in the field of BIM. We are partners with Building Smart. We are active in local representatives of Building Smart in Slovenia, Germany, Czech Republic. And lately, we are also involved in professional certification with Building Smart. So we educate civil engineers and help them get certified with Building Smart. So this is internationally recognized certification. Our software portfolio covers three main civil engineering fields: roadway design, railway design, and river engineering design. And today's webinar will cover mostly PLATEIA, FERROVIA, and AQUATERRA, where you will learn how to take the full advantage of the labeling that we really uplifted in the latest versions. So now I would like to present also my colleague Klemen Ozimek, who will have the technical part of the presentation. Klemen is also a product manager at CGS Labs. He's responsible for development of PLATEIA road design software, but as an environmental civil engineer, he's also very knowledgeable in other fields of civil engineering, as is AQUATERRA and also FERROVIA. So I'm quite sure you're in most capable hands. So Klemen, I would like to give a word to you, so please take over.
Hello, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me. So I will take over the presentation. Okay. So yeah, once again, hello from my side. As Gregor already mentioned, my name is Klemen Ozimek, and I work in the development of CGS products. So today we will look at the topic of labels within the CGS software. So the mailing that was sent out covered 3 topics. So this was the overview of labels, the editing and the changing of CGS labels. So first of all, we will just go over the general terms. So about the label elements and what kind of labels we have in CGS, which ones are now the new block labels. So labels in general can be prepared in CAD software in many different ways. You can use basic CAD elements such as lines and text, or even blocks, which gives more simplicity and possibility for changing the set elements. Or it can be also prepared with custom objects, which maybe you can think of Civil 3D, which actually maybe limits the user to pre-prepared options. So we strive more for open approach at CGS. So here in this slide, I actually asked ChatGPT to list me the differences between different elements. So you can see like what blocks contribute versus the text and line elements. So for example, using blocks should give you more consistency, should reduce the file size because there are repetitive elements. It gives you the possibility to edit only one block definition, which in turn will change all the block references in the drawing. So if you can imagine changing the text and lines for each individual label, it could be very cumbersome. And then one step forward, we have dynamic or parametric blocks in BricsCAD, which actually gives you a little more customizability. You have adjustable parameters. You can use multiple blocks in one block. You have the option for custom grips and actions, which actually gives you the customizability of individual elements on top of the blocks themselves. So these are just descriptions. Let's see what we can see in the software. So these are just some examples of how using the dynamic blocks can actually give you more freedom to customize. So these are the labels for main elements, for design speed, which have the custom grips for moving the elements, for rotating them, or changing the site on which they are placed. And also this rotation for all the labels can be done relatively from the point of alignment, so perpendicular to the alignment. Then, as we said, we can have multiple blocks saved in one block. So this is just example of tangent polygon where there are defined different definitions, which shows different parameters or configurations. Then one more improvement can be that we can actually prepare our own block. We don't have to use the defined one as from the CGS, from the vendor, software vendor. And here we actually prepared like another type of sample line block or label that can be used in CGS software. So here is actually a list of all the CGS block labels that we have and the associated commands that are used for drawing them. These commands are for PLATEIA, but it's also for FERROVIA and AQUATERRA. So here you can see that there are quite a lot of them in the plan view and the profile view. So everything when we are drawing the profile line, the tangent line, all of those labels can be changed and can be done so they are annotative and dynamic. Then let's go to the next topic, which is how to edit the CGS labels. Here I actually selected 4 types of options. So first of all is cat command, CGS commands, CGS settings, and the prefix and suffix option that we have. So let's go to the cat commands. So now that we have blocks prepared, labels prepared as blocks, we actually can use cat commands to change them, to edit them, and these are just like a few the most used commands for editing. So as I said, we can prepare annotative blocks which can be then changed with the annotation scale, and here is a command that resets all the different alternate scale representations. Then we have reset block, block edit, and then we have block attribute manager, and then we have enhanced attribute editing. So all of these commands can be used to change or to edit the CGS commands. So let's see an example of that. So here we have main elements which can be extended and can be moved. So to get it back on the same position, we can use the reset block command, which resets it to the default position from the drawing. Then we can use block attribute manager to change the height of the individual attributes in the label. So this can be done with the scale command or also with this get command for attributes. So these blocks are also prepared so that you can change the color of it by changing the color of the layer. So this will change all of them. And we also have a reset block command also available in the ribbon. Then the next part that I have here is that we can also make them annotative. So I will use cat command block edit. I will choose the sample line station label. So as I'm working in BricsCAD, it will actually change the dynamic block from dynamic to parametric. And I will just add the annotative option. I will also add the available scales that I have. And now I can actually already use the annotation scale to change the CGS labels. And then the next part are CGS commands, of course. So we have a few different options to refresh the labels. And yeah, actually all commands that draw the labels also refresh them. So when you're, I don't know, creating cross sections, when you're inserting terrain again, it will also refresh the labels for the name of the cross section and the stationing and that stuff. We have different commands for refreshing for alignment labels, for sample line, for profile, and we also have the scale command which affects the CGS labels. So let's see one example of that. So we have here the sample lines with the stationing and the name. So if we are actually if we use sampline label settings again, we can click OK and it will refresh them, or we can just choose what we want to show and also choose the displacement. Then the next things are CGS settings. So CGS settings affect more non-graphic information. So which attribute is shown, which station format is used for the label, what is the default distance from alignment for some labels, and stuff like that. So non-graphical information. So let's see an example of that. So we will draw horizontal alignment, which will give us the main element labels. But now we also want to label the lengths of individual main element. So we have an option for that, so we will use it. And we also want to label those labels on the inner side of the curves. So setting was set, and I will refresh the labels from the previous comments, and I can see that I have the new definition here. Then we have the option for prefix and suffix for all of those listed labels. So we have a special command for that, which allows you to change the naming. And this is actually defined in the external file, in XML file, which can also be changed manually. So let's see an example of that. So we have here a projection point. And I also gave it some kind of prefix and suffix on the height and what kind of object it is. So here I said that it's a post with 611 height, and I have this prefix and suffix for all the new labels that are inserted. Then the next part is how to change CGS labels. So the previous part was for the labels that are already in the drawing, but what if we want to create our own? So how to do that? We first have to know where to store these labels and how to create them. So first we will look at labels location. So all of those labels are stored externally. So that means it's not hard-coded anymore. These are actually drawings that we have in the application data folder, which can be accessed through File Explorer. So how to get there? We also have a command in the PLATEIA or in CGS to get there easier. So we go to the application data folder. We have it for FERROVIA, PLATEIA, AQUATERRA separately. And then we have all of those labels that we support have their own unique folder, and actually you can now change this label or just see how it is created. Okay, then the labels creation part. So for our CGS labels, any type of block can be used. So standard, dynamic, or parametric can be prepared. So the only three things are important: that the drawing name is how it's already defined, that we place it in the right folder or the right location, and that the attributes within the drawing are correctly named so that the information will be correctly assigned to the label. So how to do that? First of all, you need to be aware of how to create the label itself. So here I found a nice table from Autodesk webinar about working with blocks that shows how the properties of objects within a block should be configured. This actually then affects how colors and line types and other things will be shown and or changed. So you can see that if we have a block, it should be that the objects within the block should be set to by block definition, and then when we are inserting the label or the label block, we can then control it with the by layer option. So you can also see that on the webinar from AutoCAD. And here we have an example of how to maybe create our own block. So here we have a name, sample line name attribute. And I will just create a new drawing. So attribute definition, I will define the attributes, so sample line name. I will change the height to 5 and I will set it to 0, 0, 0 coordinates. And then I can prepare it as how I like it. So I will change the justification to the middle, so it will be in the middle point. I will change the rotation to maybe 90 degrees from the alignment. I can also add some other elements such as circle, and I will change the color not by layer but by block, and then I will set those elements within a block. So I will just say sample line name for the block name and select the entities. So this will convert these elements to a block, and then I just need to save it with the right name so that CGS software will recognize it, and I can actually use another drawing and create another alignment. So here now for all of the new drawings, new labels will be used. So as you can see, we have here the new prepared block. I can also change the displacement from the settings that I've shown before. And I can control the color of those labels with the layer option. So now for this, for now, this will be the end of my presentation. We are aware that not everything was covered here and that we are actually still improving the functionality of labels. So there will be definitely some improvements on this topic, so stay tuned for upcoming versions and news. So thank you for your attention, and I'm giving my word back to Gregor.
Thank you, Clement. Let me just quickly share my screen. Okay, I think you see it now. So I have just a couple of words. I have a couple of minutes left until the end of the webinar. So I would like to point your attention to some of the resources that we provide for our users. The most important one being our support and knowledge base for our users. This is where we keep all the tutorials, all the help documents at your disposal. It is very easy to find them. I will show you in a couple of moments. Then another one is our resource of the webinars for civil engineers. So whatever we prepare for you is always kept in a portal that we use, and you can watch those webinars at any time you want. And then we have a couple more. We are having our own blog where we share tips and tricks for the users of our software, and maybe present some interesting projects or reference stories and so on. And also I would like to invite you to follow our YouTube channel, where we also keep lots of video tutorials that are quite easy to use. And one important channel for us is also LinkedIn. There is a place where we share whenever we post, for example, in any of those channels that I mentioned now, we always give you information on LinkedIn first. So you will get there new announcements for the new webinars, or whenever we prepare a new tutorial, it will be shared also through our LinkedIn network. So maybe just to how can you actually find those resources that I mentioned? This is our web page. And if you scroll down at our web page, at any page actually, you will see this section, Learn and Support. And it has our help center, which is this. Here you can access, for example, easily you can access our knowledge base, which is contains information actually for all software, and it's quite easy to search through. For example, if I would want to search for some road reconstruction tutorial, you could easily find it. You just click and you will see that you have quite comprehensive information on it. You could click through some workflow. You would then see that we have also video tutorials connected in this knowledge base. So I invite you to explore this if you didn't yet. But I need to emphasize that this content is currently only in English language. So the other one that I mentioned was blog. This is again, you can find it here below, and it shows content for all of our software. It can be easily filtered out. So if you're searching, for example, in particular for PLATEIA or for FERROVIA, you would get specific content for those. And the last channel is our Go to State channel. This is where we keep all our recordings of the webinars. We have some featured videos. We have then recordings in specific languages. Most of them are in English language, but you will find also some in other localized versions. And we have also plans to somehow easily localize webinars that we prepare mainly in English language, that we localize them also for specific markets. But again, I encourage you to explore this and see if you can find the topic that you're interested in. So again, you can find this link here. Just everything is on our webpage. So if I go back to our presentation, actually this concludes it. I mentioned in the beginning, if you have any questions regarding the content that was presented on today's webinar, you can ask us about it. You can send us even questions on, at our email, or you can turn to our local representatives or offices for support. So I would like to thank you again for attending today's webinar, and I hope that we can host you quite soon again at one of the future webinars. Thank you and goodbye.